What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Calicast. I'm Uriah, the California kid. Be spitting some knowledge, telling stories, and having a good time. For those that don't know, Cory has been coming out to Team Alpha Male. She came for the first time to test out the water. She was testing out all of America in 2015. And you were how old then?
16.
16 years old. Made a little short stint at Team Alpha Male, went out to King's MMA, went to Glendale, and kind of toured California. And that was a family trip? What was that all about?
Yeah, so for the first couple of years when I left school, my family holidays were orientated around me trying out different gyms because we were very aware, obviously, just how the MMA scene is out here. It's very different to back home. So eventually I'd probably need to, expand my broaden my horizons.
So what is the difference? Give us some details on the. I've been there once or twice, but there's no big time gyms over there, or how's it work?
No, there's obviously a lot of great teams, some very great coaching staff. I was very fortunate with my situation, but at the same time, there's not that professional gym. So there's not like morning, lunchtime, evening classes. I was doing a lot of driving around, looking for partners, looking for classes, paying for like private training and everything. Whereas obviously out here, it's a lot more easily accessible. You've got like the highest level training partners and coaches all under one roof.
Right.
All day, every day.
And who are some of the standout UK fighters that you looked up to growing up? I mean, off the top of your head, was there anyone that was the mainstay? I'm trying to think of it, and I can't.
So, funny enough, one of my, old training partners, Arnold Allen, he was meant to be fighting. Oh, was it? No, it's out. Sorry, I panicked then. I didn't know if it was out, but it's out. So he was meant to be fighting Jeremy Stevens, November 7th. So obviously I grew up with him, and there were a lot of other high-level Cage Warriors guys. But in terms of like UFC level, I grew up.
Yeah, who were the big UFC fighters from the UK?
Yeah, so obviously I had like Arnold Allen like since I was like 13, and then in Wales got like Jack Shaw, Brett Johns, Jack Marshman, who's fighting this weekend also. Obviously, I don't Brad Pickett, like obviously way back when.
I'm like, okay, that's not that far back now. Come on, Cory, that's not that far back.
Don't know out you like that, but.
Okay, yeah. So Brad Pickett's one. Who's the dude that got kicked out of the UFC for punching Koscheck after the bell? Daly.
Paul Daly.
Daly. He was a wild man from the UK. Oh, Michael Bisping.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
The Count. Oh, my God. Mike,
See,
I apologize for Cory's ignorance. I mean, who would have thought she didn't give Michael Bisping a little credit here? Can you apologize to Mike?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, that's right. So we got those are some of the. I'll say Pickett and Bisping.
Yeah.
Two of the pioneers.
Like the old school ones.
That's right. Yeah, it was just off the top of my head. It wasn't popping for me. So, so you came out, and that was pretty cool. Your family vacation revolves around you training, and I know a little bit about your family history. Your dad, kind of a wild man in his own right. He was like an extremist when it came to, I guess it would be fitness, or what would you call it, marathon running?
Yeah. So he was. Predominantly like marathon running. He had a Guinness World Record for running a marathon with like I think it was like 60 pounds on his back or something. For, like in all his army kit.
But he was in the military.
He was
growing
in the military,
up.
Yeah.
So is it militant in the house for you? Is it like everything about regimen?
He's very much like big on obviously being punctual and being organized. He's not like your stereotypical. Drill sergeant dad, but like he was always, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. So I do try and obviously that's why I'm always at the gym a bit early and make sure I'm ready to go.
Well, up until lately, there's a guy named Dwight Joseph who
taken over my influence.
Has now influenced Cory massively, and now she's been a little bit late to every single practice. But I won't tell your pops unless he's watching this. I mean. I don't think he follows much of your stuff these days. So if he does see
it, that he watches everything. That's him. He's my biggest supporter.
I know, that was sarcasm, by the way. But so he ended up having we're gonna brush over that, a Guinness Book World Record.
Yes, he had the Guinness Book. He's not in the book, but he has the certificate. He just missed out on the book.
And that is for having a 60-pound weight. And do you remember the time that he ran the?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, Cory.
I'm sorry.
I can't
I'm a
believe you don't have
terrible
that.
daughter, but yeah, no, he's scary quick. Like I ran like a half marathon, like before coming out here, like just as a bit of I'm overly competitive. One of the guys better couldn't do it, so I went and did it. I think it took me like 2 hours, and then my dad messaged me and was like, "Well, at 18, I ran a full marathon in 2 hours and 40 minutes."
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
he doubled you.
Yeah, I was like, that's bad.
So you've got a long line of guys that like to punish themselves. That sounds like a miserable task, running with 60 pounds on your back for a full marathon at the speed he was doing it to set a world record.
Yeah, I'd rather get punched in the face.
And he's got now some health issues a little bit. Is that?
Yes, he's got like a broken back, spinal cord.
Was that related to the Guinness Book stuff?
No, that's like just like degenerative stuff, but also obviously in the military he was doing a lot of parachuting.
Oh, that's right.
All that sort of stuff that went on. So yeah, so
he's like a real G.I. Joe UK version.
Yeah, he's pretty tough. He's where I get my stubbornness from. So. And
on the other side, you've got your mom, and so let me get this straight because we don't want to get it twisted and want credit where credit's due. Did she start fighting after you got mixed martial arts involved, or was she the person that pushed you into mixed martial arts? And how did that whole work to where you and your mom ended up fighting both at the same time professionally?
So she was doing like a bit of karate with my brother, like it's just a hobby. I ended up going along to a few sessions for a hobby, and then I went off. I branched into like jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. Eventually turned around and went, right, come on, we're going to an MMA gym. So dragged her along. And then, we both kind of just fell in love with it together. So we were each other's main training partners because, she ended up fighting at atom weight, so I actually outgrew her. But we were like the same, we were similar sort of weight, so we kind of trained with each other. We made our amateur debuts on the same card. My last amateur fight was like her pro debut, so like for a lot of times we were like fighting, like say on the same night.
And how old were you when that happened?
I made my amateur debut at 15.
15, and she was
34.
34. 15 and 34, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty well. So you guys were fighting both professionally at that time. You're professional at 15, or
no? That was amateur.
You're both amateur at that time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But she ended up making her pro debut as well.
Yeah, she made her pro debut a few years later. She went on to like co-main Cage Warriors and everything. So she only had a few fights, but she got up there. She did really well.
So just so people get an idea of what's going on here, we have a program called Train with Tam. A lot of people, Vince Murdoch was one of those guys, Cody Garbrandt, Paige Van Zant. The list goes on of people that have come through our program and become part of our team. Teruto Ishihara and Song Yadong and Nad Naramini, the people that come from all over the world to be a part of this thing. Cory stood out when she was here, obviously very polite. She was young, I think 17 at the time when you made an actual, like, longer stay, not just to check us out. Yeah. And super high skill set, was able to go hard with the guys. And once I got to know Cory a little bit, she started telling me about her, trip here to the original time when she was only 16 or 15, and her whole family made it a family vacation to go check out training for her. And then I go on to find out that her whole house had been turned into a gym. So there's like levels of the gym. There's like the living room was, how was that set up? It was actually, you have a couple story house and the house is set up to be a gym.
Yeah, so we had like a 3-story house, which meant we had obviously 2 living rooms. So one of the living rooms was weights and like cardio room, and then the garage outside had been converted into like just fully matted out with bags and stuff like that in it. And then, yeah, it's pretty much the same at my new house as well, back home.
Yeah, then you guys moved and you did the same thing?
Yeah.
That's good. So was there ever like, family arguments? You take it to okay, let's take it outside. Let's take it to the garage.
Doesn't tend to go that far now. My mum's retired. My dad's obviously injured, and my little brother's pretty chilled. So luckily, I'm the only aggressive one in the house, so it doesn't go that far.
Did you tell me that your mom had COVID and was housed with your dad, who has the back issue, and it was like a life-threatening scenario?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously my dad's like really high risk, but like my mum's like they say just she had to isolate for 2 weeks and
Yeah.
got over that.
But in the
being
same
fit.
house as your...
Yeah, so obviously he had to stay on the complete opposite side of the house.
And I was like, well, he seems young and everything else. And you said, no, if he were to sneeze or cough, that is straight to the emergency room.
Yeah, his back's like so bad that like you say like a sneeze or a cough like that's him in excruciating pain. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's great. So props to your pops for being the pioneer of doing intense things in the family, and then your mom followed suit, and now we have, little young Cory McKenna fighting in the best organization in the world, about to have your actual debut. Before the first fight was short notice. It was super wild the way it all came together, and Jack did an amazing job of pulling all the pieces together on the other side of the planet. Cory is quarantined in the UK, and I get a short notice call to get her in the Contender Series, and we had to get it all done. What was that call like, and what was the preparation like? Did you think there's a chance you weren't going to make it happen, and how'd it go?
Yeah, to be honest, like even the day before I was meant to fly out to Vegas, Jack was like, I don't think this is gonna happen. Literally, like on the way to the airport, I swung in somewhere to like grab my visa, drove straight to the airport, met my parents there. They had a bag of clothes, and then we just we went straight through and ran to my flight. So it was very, very, very close. Like you say,
how much notice do we have? Was it 2 weeks?
3 weeks, just
3
under,
weeks.
yeah. Like you say, you text me. I'd woke up. We were sneaking in the gym to spar once a week. So I was just about to head off to sneaky sparring, and then I got a text from you.
Sparring, I like that.
That definitely picked me up a bit, got me motivated. Like I'd been training hard anyway. Obviously, I'd had 18 months layoff, but I'd been doing back to back camps just because stuff kept happening and coming up as it does. But it was very tight, very, very close to getting it done.
And you got there, 4 days before the fight?
Yeah, so we got out there on the Tuesday. No, I fought on the Tuesday, so I got out there on the Friday.
And the backstory on this is I've been telling Mick for a long time. I've got young Cory McKenna. She's been coming out since she's 17 and singing the praises. And I saw him in Abu Dhabi at the Fight Island, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get her on. And I reminded him, and he's like, oh, I've got a fight for you. Called, and we had to rush order to get this whole thing done. And Cory was an underdog in that fight. Not in our minds, obviously, but in the whoever makes the odds. I don't think the matchmakers were prepared for Cory to come out and do her thing the way she did, but that was a tough fight. And that was, how do you pronounce the girl's name?
Demopoulos.
And Demopoulos had some steam. She was kind of the unsigned best out of the U.S. because she was the LFA champion at that time, right?
Yeah.
And so we got that short notice call. Cory got in there and had a dominant performance and got the contract, and now we're getting ready to fight. What do you remember most about that whole experience? Is it any different than, would you have the UFC jitters? Was it anything separate from the fights you've had in the past?
No, like I always say, obviously, like the cheesy every fight's your biggest fight, but also I think with it being like in the Apex, there was no crowds. Like obviously, everything was such a stress and a rush to get there that when I got there, like I was saying to my friends, like I almost felt more relaxed because it was kind of like everything was done. I was there. It was almost like it'd been so hard to get there that it almost felt like nothing could go wrong. Like I almost just had to win because like I'd worked so hard just to get in there.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like you say, I was quarantined the entire time. I had,
How long were you quarantined?
It's like 4 days, so we pretty much didn't leave the hotel.
Right.
But like.
Right.
But like obviously I was with you, Jack, like my best mate Charlie came out to train with me, so I had a body, and like so it just ended up like feeling more like a training trip away, like a little spa day. It was quite fun.
That's good, yeah. And then Dana was impressed. He was, he likes to keep everyone in suspense about talking about whether or not someone's going to get a contract. But at the end of the day, he said, there's a lot of hype behind the girl that you had fought, and you came in and dominated. He liked that you threw down. If you watch the fight, if you guys go on Fight Pass, look up Cory McKenna, Corey Poppins, and watch her do her thing. But it was dominant. The girl was known as a high-level jiu-jitsu player. She's an athlete, a dancer. That was her thing. She's a stripper basically, and that was kind of what she was saying. That it was a great prerequisite for the fight game. And honestly, she had some dexterity and flexibility that, comes from being on the pole possibly. I don't know. But wasn't enough for Cory McKenna.
Yeah, she was
Take out
tough,
Cory
like,
McKenna.
Yeah, she was tough. Like, fair play to her. Like, obviously, like you said, she's the best girl that's not signed to the UFC. I think she's fighting in a week or two's time as well.
Where's she fighting?
She's on LFA again.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it was a great fight, tough opponent. And obviously, I was really happy to get the
And you
win.
had just turned 21?
Yeah, it was, funny enough, actually, I think you text me like a week after my birthday.
Yep,
So.
a week after your birthday, 21.
Yeah.
Came in there and got it done. That's what everyone got to see, because probably the most eyeballs in any of your fights has been in that fight. But what did they not get to see on the path to being able to dominate in a UFC contention fight? What age were you when you started training, and what did that look like? Were you a grappler first, a striker first? What were kind of the paths that you took to get there?
So I started, like, say, karate when I was about 10. Even when I was doing that, I was in the gym 7 days a week. I've always been one of those people that once I've decided I want to do something, I commit fully to it. So then once I started jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai at the same time. So again, no real style like that I
What
leaned
age
towards.
was that when you did jiu-jitsu?
That would be about 11 or 12.
Okay.
So pretty much for the
Were there a lot of girls doing this at your age in the UK?
Not really. There were a
There were
few.
some.
Like you say, my parents were super supportive of me. My dad would drive me, 4 hours to a jiu-jitsu competition. I'd compete against the exact same girl that I competed against like 2 weeks ago, just for a bit of experience. The divisions were tiny. Like a lot of my competitions growing up, I'd jump in the boys divisions, or I'd go up weight classes. It actually popped up in my memories. I think it was 14, maybe 15, and I competed in the boys under 70 kilos category. I was weighing like 48 kilos. That's like 65 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Difference.
So you were doing not just training in the gym, but you're doing as many competitions as possible.
Yeah, so my amateur debut, I had 3 fights that month. I had a boxing fight, and then I had my amateur MMA debut, and then the week after I had a boxing fight, and then the week after that I had a Muay Thai fight. Like, I was pretty much fighting every weekend, getting as much experience as possible.
And it's funny because I talked to Jack, and he was saying, now you never went to college.
No.
And the way you tested on your skills, or on the IQ test and whatnot, they're saying, oh, this girl's super highly intelligent. She should be going to an Ivy League school and blah, blah, blah. Was school something that you had ever thought about? Growing up, obviously, you got good grades and you had some gifts there, but was it something like, should I go to school first? Should I do this? When did you know for a fact that this is what you wanted to do?
Oh, I was probably, so up until about 13, 14, like, I was really big on school, like, massive book nerd. I trained every day of the week, but also, I was always on top of my studies. I think my mum said I was like 2 when I turned around and said I wanted to be a scientist. Like, I've always been very driven towards one thing, so yeah. I stuck with that, and then about 13, 14, I went, oh, actually, I wanna fight. But I never let my grades drop. I just, I was one of those kids that do my homework at lunchtime so that I could train in the evening. I'd go for a run in the school gym at lunchtime, and just make ways to get extra stuff in.
That's pretty wild. Obviously you come from some pretty unique parents. Your dad, what he's been through and put himself through, and your mom, obviously not afraid to take some risks. But pretty cool to see a young kid, and it's funny because I have my kids now and see the personality that already at a young age where they're just their own person. That's pretty cool that you're able to decide what you want to do and then attack it like that. What was the goal? Have you given a thought to what your goal is in your career? Are you gonna fight until you're old? Are you waiting to to be a world champion? Would you like to stay within the sport once you're done? Or have you given a thought to any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I can't really imagine myself doing anything outside of this sport anymore. Like I said, I've invested so much of my life in it. I'm very passionate about it.
You're
I'm
very
driven
young
towards
now.
it.
There's a lot of time left.
In terms of, like, I always joke, I'm just gonna retire. Not retire. I'm gonna fight until I'm made to retire. But at the end of the day, like, the main goal is just to be the best in the world. Like, I already know I'm capable of it. I'm gonna be a world champion. I just want to make sure that there's no doubts that I've fought everybody. I've proven myself, and I'll see how the body holds up.
Yeah, and do you think about, like, because I know that when I was in the midst of my fight game, I was never thinking ahead of things, but I also wasn't a kid that knew what I wanted when I was a little kid. I was just kind of like do what I wanted, what I liked to do, etc. Do you feel like you have an idea of what you want to do after the fight game, or have you even thought about that at all?
I'd probably stem into coaching or something. Like, I very much enjoy that. Obviously I'm helping out coaching at the moment. I started coaching the kids' classes back home when I was about 15, maybe even earlier. So I've always kind of had a little bit of a enjoyment towards the coaching side of things. So I think if I retire, when I retire, I probably go down that route. But like you say, I'm still young. I'm going to be fighting until I'm at least, how old are you? Like 16?
I'm young. I can't even remember how old I am. I'm so young.
But no, there's plenty of life left in me, so I'll worry about that when it comes. But like you say, as long as I'm training and I'm fighting and I'm making the right moves in the right directions, I'm happy.
It's funny because Cory now is 21, which she comes off so proper in the way she speaks, and she's got a little accent and whatnot. And I've known her since she was 17, actually, because we had the fighter house, and I'm like, I'm not putting this girl at this fighter house. So Cory actually lived here at my house during her stays as a fighter 2 different times, right?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times. So keep her away from the heathens, and it's funny. I just taught her some life lessons in chess, how to be humble in defeat. Also,
you haven't played me since my last near win. I'm just saying.
Near win, near. Oh, near is the key word there, but yeah.
Stalemate.
But one of the things that stuck out to me, because I got to see you firsthand the way you live, is how precise. You had a running regimen that your father put together for you. You had a diet plan. You wouldn't eat salmon. I was giving her trifecta food, and she's like, I can't eat salmon. I can only eat whitefish. I can do this. I can do that. The discipline is pretty impressive. What is your let loose? What do you do to get out of regimen? I mean, what are the things that you enjoy? Is there anything?
I've been doing a lot of painting and drawing lately.
That's right.
Yeah, just Poppins paintings on Instagram for anyone watching. But so I've been doing a lot of that to kind of relax and just kind of take my mind off stuff. Like I say, I've always enjoyed reading, so I do a lot of reading in my downtime.
What kind of books?
I'm currently on book 4 of the Game of Thrones series, but I'm really not too fussy.
Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings.
Not Star Wars, but yeah, I like a lot of I suppose fantasy stuff, just kind of stuff that you can lose yourself in and switch your mind off. You don't have to think too much.
Nice. So you're that's obviously where you got The Hobbit. That you're a big fan of Lord of the Rings.
Nope. This was funny enough. I don't think I'd actually seen the movies at the time either, but I was.
Really?
This was from when I was competing in Thai boxing. Before one of my walkouts, one of my coaches just looked at me, gave me I think he leant on my head because I'm so short, and he was just like, "Oh, you're a little hobbit." And then gradually, obviously, more people started calling me the Hobbit because I was the smallest person at the gym, and it just kind of stuck. So since about 13, 14, I've just been called the Hobbit on a daily basis, introduced as the Hobbit. So it kind of just stuck with me.
That's awesome. And so, I've been a guy that's been around Sacramento my whole life. I've had some stints, lived in Vegas for the Ultimate Fighter, went away to college at UC Davis, which is a whopping 20 minutes away. Traveled the world, but have lived in one place. Was it scary for you as a young girl, as a 17-year-old, taking your whole life and coming out here on your own? Was it exciting? Was it scary? Was there any trepidation? What was it like being in a whole new environment in a whole nother country on your own?
Oh, it was very exciting for me. I'm not one of those people to get like nervous about something. Like say it's something I'd always wanted to do. I'd known that I wanted to do it for quite a while. So for me, it was just good. It was a great opportunity. So I wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna waste it by getting nervous or getting homesick or any of that nonsense. But also my like parents, like you say, like they're very supportive, and they both left home at a young age. My mum joined the army at 16. My dad joined at 17. So,
Oh, wow.
They've always been very. They're not like pushed me out or anything. Obviously,
Yeah, they're like, get the hell out, Corey. We've had enough.
Overstaying
Quit beating up your mom in the kitchen and making your dad laugh and cough, go to the hospital.
Yeah, but like, so for them, they've always been very big on me being independent and kind of like, not being afraid to step out of my comfort zones. Like my dad would drive me, all around England and Wales to try out different gyms, and he would sit in the car outside and he'd be like, right, go on in. I'd be 14, just walking into these professional gyms by myself. Like, so I was very, very used to kind of just
independence.
Yeah, being independent, like as
That's
much
awesome.
as I've lived at home. For
And yeah, so obviously, worldly at this point, and you've got all these different disciplines under your belt. Do you have a favorite discipline? Mixed martial arts is a blend of everything. Do you have a favorite that stands out to you? You more jiu-jitsu, more wrestling, more Muay Thai, or are you pure MMA at the heart?
No, yeah, I love it all equally. I go through phases where I get a bit more excited about one thing. That's just because I think everyone does when you have a little bit of success. But when it comes to each discipline, I love them all equally. I train them all equally. So I really couldn't say I lean towards one.
I guess that's kind of the big difference now. That people are talking about the new age of MMA, and you're kind of that. You've learned the blend versus a guy like me who came in as a Division I wrestler and had to quickly learn boxing and Muay Thai and put it all together. Today's day and age, it's a blend of everything, and Cory's a good example of that. So this next fight, what do you know about your girl? What's the opponent's name?
So I'm fighting Kay Hansen. Another young prospect and just got signed. She's a very tough opponent. Again, like obviously we're in the UFC now, so I wouldn't expect anything less. Very skilled grappler. She's tidy on the feet. Training with.
She is tidy on the feet.
Was that?
You sure?
Is that a very? Having a bit of Welsh coming out then. She's clean. So like she's got good technique. Like you say, working with very high level coaching staff and everything, improving. She's been in the game for quite a while herself, so I think.
Had you had an eye on her? I mean, at this point, she's kind of in the same position you are. Did you already know who she was? And even though she's not signed to the UFC, do you have a kind of a lens out there on all the competitors?
Not really. I didn't really know too much about her until she got like a last minute call up on the UFC. I think it was July. I watched that fight live, but other than that, like I hadn't seen any of her fights before. But yeah, she's skilled. She got like pulled off like some flashy subs. She got some like tricky skills that But
yeah, I think she's a 10th Planet girl.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, I think she's got a coach boyfriend that is a high level jiu-jitsu player also, instructor. From what I saw when I was doing a little research, looks like she's a good athlete. It's going to be a good tactical matchup. I feel like the stand-up, she's definitely like fundamentals. It's not like a ton of tricks. You kind of know what you're going to get. She's super aggressive, so it's going to be a good match. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like I think both very technical. I think you get some good technical exchanges, but I also from a couple of the fights that I have seen from her, like neither of us are afraid to have a little bit of a tear up. So I'm sure there'll be some fun exchanges in there as well as technical exchanges.
Yeah. That being said, I know you got to get going back to teach the next generation. What's up with the romance life? I know you've shunned Valentine's Day in the past. Cory was the one that the Grinch that stole Valentine's Day. You single, ready to mingle? You got a special someone out there? She hates this. This is gonna oust her.
I just train and focus on training.
That's it?
That's my sole focus right now. I've got some big fights coming up. I've got, I'm taking it taking it very seriously and focusing on that. The rest will be there when I'm interested, I suppose.
Can't believe you're that embarrassed, Cory. I'm just asking you if you got any special men in your life. Now, the last thing, can you give me 3 words that you guys use in the UK that we do not use in America?
Oh, gosh. What have I used lately? I've actually been discussing this a lot in the gym. I say naff a lot. Rubbish. Naff and rubbish are pretty much the same thing. It's kind of like...
Trash.
Trash, yeah. And then if I take something or I steal something, I say I nick it.
Nick it?
Nick it. So,
okay, so it's taff, rubbish.
Naff.
Naff.
Yeah, rubbish.
Rubbish.
And nick. There you go.
Nick. Nick. What do you call it when you sucker punch somebody? We call it like a side bust or a sucker punch.
I suppose sucker punch would probably still apply, yeah.
You don't have any other cool names for it?
No, sorry.
That's unfortunate.
Or else, there's loads of words.
And lastly, are there any words here in America? Because I know the other day in practice, you were cracking up because I was saying something. I can't even remember what it was.
Let's not discuss that.
I said, what was it again? I can't say it? Okay, it's a derogatory remark that I accidentally said?
Yeah.
Okay, what are some other words that we use in America that you don't use in the UK?
I learned faucholi and finna. That's some slang that I learned this week.
Wait, so say it again?
Faucholi, which apparently means for sure.
I've never heard of that myself.
And then
who taught you that?
Bulldog.
Okay.
Yep. And then you say tripping a lot instead of like I'm not worried. You say I'm not tripping.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yep. And then finna instead of going to gonna finna.
Finna.
See, you got like
Finnin.
Something
Who
like
says that?
All the kids out here. I'm trying to be cool.
Let me hear you say it. Use it in a sentence.
I'm finna go teach the kids class. He's loving this.
All right. We'll end on that one. Thanks, Cory.